Hey everyone, hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going over to XRP once again. Thank you for your support. Okay, be the CoinsKid crew. So if you're not already in the Discord, definitely get involved in the Discord. It's an amazing community. For example, on Friday, I posted a short setup on Atom. If you take a look, the CoinsKid index was printing a sell. We've got beautiful bearish divergence in this rising channel with bearish divergence, and then the outlook was this simple little outlook just there, and it's played out like an absolute boss. For anyone paying attention, it's been a whopping short over the weekend. On Atom, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, then an ABC coming back. It was literally this level here whether we were getting a short sell signal on CoinsKid index, and boom, this has come all the way down to this green line, and right now it's bouncing like a boss. So it may be that we've just had a simple zigzag correction here for Atom. Time will tell, but that's been an amazing short opportunity for the CoinsKid crew over the weekend. So definitely get involved in the Discord because it's so much easier for me to post real-time updates. For example, yesterday there was an update on a Bitcoin post that I did a few weeks ago. For anyone in the Discord right there, I did do an outlook on Bitcoin just there on the 15th of March. We was looking at Bitcoin. If we see BTC fail at the top of the 8-hour ribbon, it may be in a bear flag with a final fifth wave down to the red line to shake out all the weekends. I do look for a big uptick in sell-off and buying volume for bottoms as well, which we have not seen on that local bottom. Invalidation, take out the white sloping line. So I still think we're under the resistance of the ribbon on the 8-hour time frame for Bitcoin. We're coming down like this. We've got the 1 into the 2 into the 3 into retracement 4, and right now we've had the final fifth wave down of that flag, and what we've seen is a breakout in volume, which is really nice. Okay, and it could signal the bottom of some kind of correction just there. So I did do an update for the CoinsKid crew yesterday on Sunday, just there, take a look. So BTC formed a possible bear flag, broke down, back testing the channel as resistance, and is now pushing towards the apex of a horizontal. Tech target of the flag has not been met, increasing volume in a bearish trend. Unless we see a short squeeze, it's not looking great for BTC here. So we've actually broke down, increasing volume, dropped out of this horizontal, and right now we've come down the stairs. So anyway, let's dive into the XRP chart right now, because I did do an XRP update for you as well. For anyone paying attention, I have been looking at this $1.64 zone as an area of interest for a big boy bounce. Whether or not, time will tell that is the actual bottom of this correction, but I've put some bids in there and I am long off that particular God candle backtest, and this is what I do. God candle backtest, I will always bid there, and I've taught you that. Okay, let's dive into the charts right now and see what we can see. So look at the S&P 500. We could simply be in a C wave here. We've got 1, 2, waterfall 3, 4, 5 waves down like this in the S&P 500 before we get a true reversal in this particular chart. So there's area of interest to me on the S&P 500 at the moment. If we take a look, we've got the 1 fib at roughly, what is that level? 4818, and equally, you see this red line just there. Okay, this was a level of resistance we were looking at. See this red line just there? Basically, you got your left shoulder. We came down like this and we broke out. And for those people who've been on the channel, remember, I expected a level of resistance at that red line come back and make your right shoulder, and I was looking for a breakout target as confluence at 1.618 of an inverse head and shoulders pattern here, and equally a cup and handle on the S&P 500. Once we broke that resistance just there, I said to you, wow, this is beautiful. I'm expecting a 1.618 of confluence of that particular target, the technical target for the S&P 500, and with that I think it will carry XRP and Bitcoin. Okay, and it's done exactly that. So at the moment I think we've entered a correction at that particular technical target and the 1.618. I think what we may have here from December last year is an A wave down, a B wave high, and right now you got some kind of C wave drop here with the S&P 500. So this thing is obviously coming down the stairs, so I'm looking at targets at the downside at the moment. If we do start to see the S&P lose the green line at 4914, I think we've entered a technical bear market at that particular time frame. So at that point we're looking for a retracement back up and then another drop. Now this will be a major support zone for me, because like I've taught you, resistance becomes support. Okay, so you've got a beautiful inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the S&P breakout. We've never back tested that level just there at 4605. So if you take a look, we've got a beautiful breakout just there for the S&P 500. I think it was in August 2020. You've got your V shape out of there, resistance, high low, that's above the EMAs, broke out, and what did you do? 5 wave correction coming back into the sweet spot before another impulsive move to the upside into the 1.618 fib right there. So it could just be a case that we're just doing something very similar. We're looking for the swing high, previous resistance, and the technical breakout target that we've never back tested as support. So it may be a case that we're just caught in an A, in a B, and right now we're in a C wave where you're looking at 1, 2, waterfall 3, 4, 5 waves down to that target, and then we begin to break to the upside. So until that day comes, I think that could be the target for the S&P 500, and at that point it will drag, it will continue to drag crypto down with it. Okay, so for me, I don't necessarily think, if I'm looking at the S&P 500 right now as a guide to, you know, the bottom being in an XRP and, you know, optimal entry point and things like that, I don't necessarily think it is until we start to see this thing say, okay, I'm bullish again. And currently it's not, obviously, because trending below the EMAs, at that point you're in free fall. So until this starts to find level support and starts to get its ass back above the EMAs, just like it did there, printing your bull cross, creating a beautiful golden signal, which is a 20 and 55 EMA on the weekly time frame, crossing positively, I think it's a time to be cautious with risk, okay, because this is coming down. So I'm looking at technical targets at 4605 and this all-time high retest on the 1 fib at 4818. So I still think we're caught in a correction. Obviously, if it falls below that, then you're not doing what you did there. You're not swing high, swing low, find support where you go. This thing could be in a world of trouble. And if it does do that and starts to break down significantly, and you start to see the S&P do something like this, you know, your crypto's gone. XRP's in the floor and Bitcoin, and it's simple as that, because this is the king of risk. This is why we make so much money on this space. So what we've done, impulsive into the target 1.618, and right now we're going through a correction just like we did there, you know, because this met the 1.618 in late 2021 as well. I remember that with you. So the V-shape down, Corona dome, got our ass out of there, took out the top 1.618. Look at that correction, and it's exactly what we're doing right now. Impulsive, so impulsive correction, impulsive correction. So obviously this doesn't become a correction if it starts to fall back like this and starts to do something like that and loses a 0 fib. It's no longer a correction. This is a whopping pullback and potential, you know, stock market collapse right there. So until that day comes, I still think we're caught in a correction, okay. And at this point I'm just looking at the targets. I'm looking at a swing high and the 1 fib at 4818, and I'm looking at that red line at 4605. That could actually be the bottom, just like it was the bottom way back there in late 2022 on this double bottom retest, a resistance breakout, support, and then boom, another impulsive move to the upside. So obviously I'm looking for more clues in the S&P. At the moment it's in free fall, you know, it's front running the market, it's the king of risk. You know, for example, just it started to correct and it was a breaking bull. XRP were going sideways, but this chart was showing you every day was doing this. This is why I was incredibly bullish on XRP, buying it, and Bitcoin as well, because of this particular chart. But right now it is breaking down, so we've just got to respect this chart until this chart starts to reverse and gets its ass back above its EMAs, just like it did there and just like it did there. We've just got to respect it is caught in a big correction. Let's dive into the XRP chart right now to see what we can see, okay? So looking at XRP on the daily time frame, we found support on the God candle back test, and this was equal, a little bit of confidence to that particular level. If we do start to break down below the $2, like I said to you, I think we'll see a bounce there. You know, whether or not it turns into a big boy bounce, we'll do something like that, time will tell. But you know, I'll always catch a bid on the God candle back test. What is a God candle back test? Resistance, broke out, and a God candle, come back to its support. You'll always see a, you know, a nice little bounce there. I don't know how it works, fair value gap, liquidity, and whatever. You'll always see the bounce on the God candle back test, whether or not it's resistance and support. For example, you know, take a look at this God candle right now. What have you done? You've flushed through support and the God candle, so that will become resistance. This $2.03, all this support here on the 236 will become resistance in the future. It may get above it. If it does, just move to the left. You can clearly see just there you've got another God candle back test where you've got support, lower high, descending triangle, double top drop, broke down support without back testing resistance. So that's on the radar. Equally, I think there's a God candle back test in Bitcoin, 103k, which I think will be back tested in time as well. You know, it's the same way. If you look to the left, you've got this breakdown just there, support. Where did we find resistance? Right on it. Descending triangle, triple top, broke down, flushed down, boom, 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 back into its resistance. You know, you're basically distributing into these God candle back tests, okay? Whether or not, you know, Wyckoff distribution, whatever, I'm not too familiar with that, to be honest with you, and I do need to learn it. I know a lot of you are Wyckoff experts. I do need to go down the Wyckoff, you know, road, basically, because you have Wyckoff accumulation, Wyckoff distribution. At the moment, obviously this looks like distribution. You're just distributing into every single God candle back test, and I do need to learn that, to be honest with you. So anyway, aside from that, you've got this resistance here where, again, you may start to come back up and, you know, distribute into that resistance once more. So until you start to take out, you know, your God candle backtest distribution scenarios, then obviously you're still caught in this correction. And one of the key things I'm looking at is if we can get our ass back above the ribbon and print a buy dot, I think that increases probability of a correction being over. And equally, all eyes on the S&P 500. So at the moment, I'll always catch a bid on the God candle backtest. We've got nice level support. We're coming back up. So this now becomes resistance of 236 at roughly $2, and this leg here becomes resistance at $2.35 in time. So if we see a significant move, I do think we could see some distribution into them levels of resistance again. Until we start to take them out and confirm the support, you know, is all the case, we're still coming down the stairs here. So your lower targets, the 382 is $1.47 and the 05 fib at $1.14. Now there was a technical pattern that got us to this target as well as confidence, and I did show you this way back when. We've got this lovely ascending level support for XRP just there. I think that's the neckline. So support, 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 came up, made the head, made the lower high, right shoulder, broke down, back tested resistance, a little bit of a bull trap with the Trump pump on that Sunday, confirmed this neckline's resistance, boom, you've dropped, and you've actually met the technical target right now of a head and shoulders pattern where you broke down like that. Beautiful, look at that. So you've come down to the technical target for XRP. If we see a reversal here and XRP gets its ass back above that $2.35 level, okay, even that could increase the probability that the low's in right there. I'll leave you with that. Hope you understand that update. Stay up for 6 on, stay tuned. Take care everyone. Back soon with a new update on XRP. Bye bye.